Hey, welcome to 731 Woodworks. In this video, I want to show you how to make this bed frame. Here I'm cutting my 2x6s. I'm cutting them at 17¼ inches long. And when you add the 3/4 inch thick 1x4s, that's going to make the total bed height of 18 inches. I'm cutting 8 of these at 17¼ inches. Next, I'm cutting my 2x4s. I got 2 at 37 inches and 2 at 70 inches. These would be the aprons for the bed frame. Here I'm just using my table saw to edge joint one edge of the 2x6s. That way I have 2 flat edges to join together when I make my legs. I have a method on doing this. I made a video on it. If you want to check that out, I'll put it in the card above. Let's put these legs together. It's pretty simple. Method I'm using here. Basically, you're going to stack them like this and glue them together and clamp them. You just want to make sure that the ends are flush. And they should all be flush if you've cut them all the exact same length. And I'm going to use a clamp to hold them together. What I like to do, clean your workbench off, and you'll see when we stack them like this, I'm going to clamp them, and you'll see that seam. It'll be a nice little seam there. Shouldn't have any gap there. If you do, it's not a big deal. So like if you don't have a jointer or a weight or a table saw to join them with, you can still do the same thing with factory edges. I just one edge squared on this thing. You'll just have a little gap there. And if you do that, I'd probably recommend putting a couple screws in there. But this way, I'm just going to use glue. I can get my glue bot to work. It's cold. The glue's cold, not the glue bot. You can get these on Amazon. If you click the link down below at what tools I use, it takes you to my website, and there's a whole list of the tools and stuff that I use. You'll see a lot of the stuff on there, like these Bessie clamps here. I think they're 12-inch Bessie clamps. These will work great for that. Of course, it'll take the glue a couple of hours to dry, so you can move on to something else while this dries. If you're just gluing, if you're going to screw it, excuse me, you can put a couple of screws in and carry on. I like to clamp that bottom first. That gets everything flush down there. Then I'll take one up to the top and clamp that one up here. And if you need to adjust any to get them flush, you just take a rubber mallet, or if you can only use a hammer, get you a block of wood to sit on there and hit. So I got this rubber mallet here, just some minor adjustments just to get everything flush. And if it's not perfect, you can come back and sand it. You want to do that later. If you got a good joint, you should start seeing some squeeze out from the glue once everything's clamped snug. I mean, I'm not bearing down tight on these, just a good snug. You see I got a little squeeze out. I think you can see it on camera. A little squeeze out down here. I'm gonna take a damp rag and wipe that off. And then we're gonna put the other 4 legs together just like that. Here we got, the legs are dry, and then we got our 70-inch 2x4. So what I like to do, I'm gonna set this inside the long side. These legs have a long side and a short side. I put the short side on the end and the top, and then along the sides, all 4 sides, the long side will be facing that way. So what you need to do is take your 37-inch piece. It's going to be running this way. Put on the short side. I'm going to put it on first, and then we're going to butt the 70-inch piece into this piece. And what I like to do is I take some glue. I'm going to glue and then take 3 screws, 2 out here close to the edge and 1 in the center. I'm going to pre-drill them, countersink them, and then put 2.5-inch number 9 screws in there. All right, now we're just assembling everything. This is a short side you're seeing on the left, and the long side will be on the right. Just using the clamp to get everything snug while I get everything adjusted, and then putting 3 screws. I pre-drill 3 holes, then put 3 screws in there. Do that on the short side, and then do the long side. Complete that on all 4 sides. Now I'm going to use my router with a 1/4 inch round over bit and just round over the bottom of the feet. That just keeps preventing splitting later on. Then you'll see me with my belt sander doing everybody's favorite sanding. Hit that with a belt sander, just knocking off the smooth, or knocking off the rough edges and the stamping. Then a lot of times these construction grade lumber have a stamp on there, like a number 1, number 2. Then I move to the orbital sander and sand it to 120 grit. Next step is cutting our slats. These are 40 inches long. You have to have 12 of them, so I'm cutting 12 at 40 inches. Time to drill some holes. We got all those wood slats, 12 of them per bed. I'm building 2 beds here, so I've got 24 of them times 4 holes in each board. You got 2 on each end, so I don't want to have to lay those on those bed frames and drill every single one and mark every one. So what I did was I just built a simple jig. This is just some 1x4 screwed together. I made a right angle first, as you can see, right angle first, and then I took this board and screwed on top. So now I've got my line drawn here on this one. So when this board's going to fit right in there, just like that. And I'm gonna measure and drill 2 holes here, and that way I can just take my drill. I don't have it, but I can take my drill and I can set this on the end of each board and just punch 2 holes. It's just pre-drilling the hole so it doesn't split the wood. It's gonna make things go a lot faster. If you had to measure and mark each one, you're going to be there for a long time just measuring and marking, and then you still have to go back and drill all of them. So building something simple like this, something that helps you just repeat the process over and over and over. And I know that these holes will get wallered out, for lack of a better term. It's a South Arkansas wallered out. It's a South Arkansas term. But you can just keep drilling those holes, and as long as it's right there pretty close, it's going to look pretty good, and it'll keep everything lined up. If they get really bad, I'll make another jig, but I don't think they will. I think it'll be fine as long as you. So here I'm drilling my holes, 2 on each end, 1 inch from the edge, the left and right edge, and from the end I just measured back to where my apron is on my bed frame. So I have to do 24 boards. You'll only have to do 12 if you're making 1 bed. Once I got all my holes drilled using my jig, I go back with a countersink bit in each hole. Just show this countersunk bit that I was using. Just a little bit of countersink there, just so that when you put the screw in, we're flush with the top of the wood. That way it looks better. You don't have anything popping up, and it doesn't bust your wood whenever you're trying to screw it in. All right, you notice I've already stained all this. I've got a link, if you'll click on the card that's popping up, shows you my staining and finishing techniques. But I've already stained these. I got everything stained. You want to stain those slats and the bed frame separate, and then after everything's dry, you can put it together. I've cut some blocks, they're 3 1/16 inch. You can see me putting them between each board. That's going to keep everything even all the way down. And I've also made another little block that measured 1.5 inches off of each side, so that the distance stays the same on each slat. That's it. We got a twin size bed frame, farmhouse style. It's stained. It's super strong. I mean, you wouldn't think that these boards would be, but when you distribute this weight, it's strong. I mean, this thing's got me held up easy. I weigh about 185 pounds. Once you put the mattress on here, there's not going to be a box spring, just a mattress. It'll distribute this weight. Won't ever have any trouble with it. These 2x4 standing on the end like that are super, super strong. If they were flipped the other way, you would have a lot of bowing and problems. But when they're on the edge like that, no problems at all. So this is a great little bed. You can make this into a full size, a queen size. If I was making it full queen or king, I would obviously put some supports in the middle running long ways, just like these, but they would be tied into the end boards. Because if you go any wider than twin, maybe a full, you can get away without it. But when you get up into the queen size, there's too much spans there for these not to be supported. So you would want to put some supports in there. But for these twin size, we don't need that. I'm sitting in the middle of them, and they're not sagging. I'm sitting on like two or three of them. This is a super strong bed. It's not going to rickety. It's not going to be rickety. It's not going to move. This thing's solid. It was inexpensive to do, with just 2x6s, 2x4s, and 1x4s. That's it. You don't have to stain it. You can paint it. You can leave it bare wood, however you like it. But we went with the dark walnut. That's what the customer wanted. Actually got plenty of space underneath. This thing's 18 inches tall. We got about 14, 15 inches of clearance down there. So it's got plenty of space for you to stick stuff on there if you got boxes or anything you want to stick on there. It's a good solid build, not very inexpensive. So I appreciate you watching, and if you don't mind, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button. I think it turned out great. What do you guys think? Drop me a comment below. It's gonna be good. This bed frame will last a long time. We got these boards. Neighbor kid got home from school.